Carrie, my husband has decided to make more of an effort with him. And so at least twice a day, we're going out on our back 4 acres and walking with Shane. And we've done it 3 times so far since I got back. And I do it off leash. Shane's not on leash because he's doing fine with me off leash on our property now. But Lori, all he does is and he can go anywhere he wants, and he chooses to stay within about 6 feet of us walking and barking his head off nonstop at Carrie with his hair up, his tail down, and then he gets within 3 feet barking with his hair up and his tail down, and then he'll back off a little bit. He barks the entire way, and it's sort of an aggressive kind of bark. I mean, he's not baring his teeth or anything, but he doesn't choose to move away. He doesn't choose to, go explore. He just stays there and barks, the whole walk. It's very annoying and obviously, and I do bring big chunks of chicken, and I have Carrie throw, gently tossing chicken at him. He'll eat the chicken, but it doesn't seem to help at all. But it's only been 3 times that we've done it, but he's been like that every single time.
So glad you brought that up without continuing in that same fashion. Remember, with everything, I love your questions because it always pertains to everybody, even though it's about you, Shane, and Carrie. It pertains to everybody. And this is a part of the class, so definitely I'm glad you brought this up, and I would love to address it now. Okay, so with every type of training, 3 strikes, the system has to be changed. Something has to change in the system, and the team has gone through 3 strikes, so something needs to change.
Okay.
Let's back up the obedience. The number 1 tool with communication is initially, as we build, is the leash. So if things are going awry, and your team, you, Shane, Carrie, has struck out, things have not changed for the better in these 3 walks. Therefore, what is the first step we have to do if things are not working? 3 strikes are up. Things are not working the way they are. Let's troubleshoot, you and Linda together, because this is a mastermind. What are we going to do in this moment at the next walk, for the next walk? What will we do differently? Because we have to change something, right?
Yeah. Well, I think you've told us that if it's not working, then we're pushed him a little too far.
Excellent.
So maybe
you're on the right road. Keep going.
Back up a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's another primary key. What we're working in this part of the enrichment, the novelty, you've added something new, isn't working after 3 times. So we have to step back a little bit. And what does that look like? Stepping back a little bit. Reducing the novelty.
Reducing the novelty. Well, I'm not sure if this is right, but before I let him off leash, he was on leash.
Yes. Yes. You say you're going to put him right back on leash. That's where it worked before. So we have to go to what worked previously. Get him on leash. Excellent. I love your problem solving skills. Good job. What's next?
Yeah, I don't know, because I can't see what putting him on a leash. I would think off leash he'd feel better than on leash, but
you're right. You're right.
He has too much freedom, maybe, and dealing with Carrie. So it's maybe he's overloaded. So if he doesn't have so much freedom, that part of him is like, okay, I know where I have to be. Now I can just deal with the Carrie part, maybe.
Yes. And you're both 100% accurate. 200% right. Let's see how that looks. So Julie, you're right, because when a dog is on leash and they feel the confinement, they get more fearful. And Linda, you're right, because the dog is off leash, has too much freedom, and gets fearful. How do we know that's true? Because what you just said, Julie, he stays at me. He stays at my feet. He doesn't want to go beyond 3 to 6 feet,
Mhm.
because you are his safety zone. And Carrie has come into his bubble, right?
Mhm.
You're his safety zone, 3 to 6 feet. He's barking. He's out of control.
Mhm.
When he's out of control. He can't learn. He can't listen. He can't do anything that he wants to do or you want to do. He just knows that I know what's worked. His primitive brain is saying, I know what's worked, being at my mama's feet. Oh my gosh, there's a problem here. It's not working. This man is not going away. Shoot. So you're both right. We're going to get the leash back on so we have a little more of a communication skill. Julie, you're going to remember the long, deep breathing, because that's going to transfer down to the leash. The electromagnetic waves, your cool, calm demeanor is going to literally transfer. It's going to entrain onto his crazy, incoherent electromagnetic frequencies. So what next? Take your time, because I want you to feel in the flow. I want you to picture yourself in that moment, not remember the theory, the this, the that, but put yourself in the moment. Now you've gotten the leash on and he's a little hairy, he's snarly. And you're taking deep breaths. Even right now, you're taking deep breaths. What's next?
Well, maybe should I do the thing where I put my hands on him and do a few deep breaths and tell him easy and then start walking, or?
Partially accurate.
Mhm.
So yes, we have the emergency trigger point release, stress release points.
Mhm.
You've come beside him because he's close to you anyways. You've reached over his spine to grab. You both face forward. And at that same time, as you're pressing the emergency release points, stress release points, that same time, Carrie is doing his long, deep breathing. He's not feeling what anyone in that place would naturally feel. A little frustrated. My dog is going crazy on me. My wife is, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Whatever.
Mhm.
Instead, he's going to long, deep breathe also and just accept what is as is in this moment and know that it's progressively getting better as he just slowly sidesteps away from you and Shane. You're giving Shane what he needs, a little more distance from the scary man.
Mhm.
Men are just naturally scary to dogs because they're leaders, and the dogs know this. This leader is going to kill me because I'm just the inferior subject here, and he needs to get me out of his pack. That's what's freaking Shane out about Carrie.
Mhm.
Knowing that, you're pressing occasional easy.
Mhm.
And just taking however much time you want, however much time you feel is appropriate. And you just feel it in the moment. No one can tell you right now in this moment, 30 seconds, 1 second, 10. So Carrie is slowly sidestepping. He's not looking at the dog. He's not talking to the dog. He's just being his own man self, his own man energy.
Mhm.
And Shane is feeling that energetic energy dissipate a little bit by the distance.
Mhm.
And don't quickly move, Carrie, don't quickly move yourself away from the dog, because we need to see what Shane's bubble is. How far do I need to get away from this dog before he's okay? No
Mhm.
more than 10 feet for sure.
Okay.
We're going to deal, if it needs to be 8 to 10 feet, we're just going to, 8 feet, we're just going to deal with it.
Mhm.
So you're going to try to head it off at the pass. The minute you see free vision, free anxiety, body language,
Mhm.
you're going to do the emergency pressure release points.
Mhm.
And Carrie's going to slowly step away. So you can find what Shane needs in that moment. And then after you feel the shivering stop, or reduce at least, you'll just slowly get up and continue your walk. You'll have the leash on because, and you, more critical than any time ever is to have the leash loose in this moment during your walk. Carrie is going to stay about 8 feet to your sides. Shane is in the middle.
Yeah.
Carrie is to your left because I want Shane in the middle experiencing Carrie's energy. And we're going to do the same thing we would do with any enrichment training. We're going to find the safety zone, the bubble. Okay, he's calmed down. His hair has released a little bit. He's not shivering violently, but he's got a little tremor going on. You continue to walk, and hopefully before the end of the walk, you will have proven to Shane, this man is a safe man. He's not here to kill you, to kick you out of the pack. He's here to welcome you into the pack. Because Carrie's not looking at Shane, he's not talking to Shane, he's just exhibiting his masculine energy and being. And that's enough to show Shane through repetition, that, oh, okay, I guess he's going to accept me in his pack, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, I have a couple questions though.
Okay.
Okay, so the order of walking, usually Shane's on my left and then me, and then Carrie would be to my right. Is that, so I'm in between them?
Yeah, you want Shane in the middle.
I want Shane in the middle.
You want Shane in the middle.
Oh.
Because I want Shane to experience Carrie's energy. We just have to have Shane experience Carrie's energy at a distance, not at a break. We don't want to break, which is Carrie on your right.
Okay.
Break an energy. That's overprotection.
Okay.
You, Carrie, and Shane in the middle. Carrie's going to have to be over here, of course, because that's about 8 feet, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll be curious to hear of how that goes.
So is the 8 feet from Shane or the 8 feet from me?
Shane.
From Shane. Okay. And then you don't want Carrie talking to him or looking at him, just walking and doing his deep breathing. And then if Shane keeps barking as we're walking, should I periodically stop and do some more of the emergency touch?
So at that point, if he continues barking, I want you to distract and remove. I do want you to step in front of Shane, to have him focus on you, and then use the word easy. Easy. You've got his collar in your hands, and you're
Okay.
Pet him. Easy.
Okay.
Because you can pet him right here. There's trigger points right here, relaxation trigger points right here. You're petting him. Easy. No. Easy. I want you to include the word no, not assertively, just a matter of factly. No. Easy.
Oh, okay.
Not let him continue barking. You can't move until he stops barking. He can't move until he stops barking. Once he stops moving, go. Massive chicken or whatever.
Okay. Okay.
Let him know that there's much more of a reward coming when I'm quiet.
Yeah, I was starting to get worried on the third walk. Wait a minute, we're giving him chicken while he's barking. Maybe that's not such a good idea.
Not so much.
Yeah.
You've just, and this is a good point. This is early enough to break the habit. You just rewarded him for barking.
Yeah.
And we have to make mistakes in order to progress, in order to learn. You're not making mistakes, you're not learning. So kudos onto you.
Okay. Okay. When he was off leash and he was barking, like 6 feet from Carrie and certainly not being friendly, and I would turn around and occasionally then I'd turn around and I'd tell Carrie, you walk up ahead a little bit, and I'd tell him easy, I'd do the easy, and he immediately sat. I didn't tell him to sit. He just immediately sat, and I pet him a little bit and I'd tell him easy, but he was clearly still really.
And that's okay
unhappy.
because he stopped. That's all we're looking
Yeah, he
for.
did stop. Yeah.
I'm telling you, your starting suggestions what is the determination of what you do?
What is the, oh, if he does what I want him to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
His response is what you will do. Here are my starting suggestions, exactly as I said, and you'll be able to listen to it over. And what you end up with may have progressed into something completely different. That's why I love to hear the follow-ups to see if it progressed into something completely different or this was excellent. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Good. I have a plan. Thank you.
Good. Yay. I'm very, yes, Linda.
Oh, sorry. So I had two things I wanted to bring up. So one, Breezy has problems with other dogs, so I don't let her get near them and smell them, but she can't avoid dogs forever.
Right. That's just management.
Yeah, so we were walking near the beach and the dog came by and she doesn't really bark anymore. She kind of whines like she wants to play with them, but I'm still afraid to bring her close. So I stand between her and the dog and we just distract and move on, and she's fine with that.
You
But
said a master word right there. I'm still afraid. You're holding
yeah,
your back, right?
yeah,
I'm still afraid. We have to progress on what? Julie just said it, the dog's behavior, not our fears. If we've got a fear, we're holding our dog back. So I would encourage you to do the same identical thing. Take a long, deep breath. Become the master, as you are, at reading Breezy's body language. The minute Breezy starts getting a little over the whining is nearing overwhelm.
yeah.
So you get as close as you can to the other dog. Good. I use the word with my dogs because they're doodles. They're just naturally anxious. Let's see. Or actually, in this situation, it would say hi. In that tone, say hi. Slow, calm, cool, and collected. You are fully connected, engaged with Breezy. Peripheral vision, you're looking to see what the other dog does to make sure if you need to sidestep right in front of Breezy, blocking the other dog, you can do that. But you're going to take the long, deep breath, say hi, closer, say hi. And then if Breezy starts bouncing up and down, she's a
Well,
little.
the thing is, she'll come over and she'll like smell the dog like face to face, whenever, and then 9 times out of 10, she'll just move on. But once in a while, she just lunges at their neck, like,
Oh, okay.
and that's why, I don't know how close she should get to a dog because,
So your mission now,
yeah,
you're becoming the master mommy. Your mission is to determine what occurred in her body prior to the lash.
okay,
Something occurred. Whether it's the dog doing this, sniffy, sniffy, from this, huge difference.
yeah,
The minute you see a huge difference, which would be extremely subtle to anyone else, you step in between the two. You try not to pull the leash, but you might have to.
okay,
You have to intervene at that moment. But I guarantee you, I promise you, where 99% of the other people say, it just happened out of nowhere. That's never accurate. With our emotions comes a physiological response. So the dog is going to feel their emotions. You're going to be able to know their emotions based on the body language. The physiological response is going to indicate what the dog is feeling. If they're sniffy, sniffy, and you'll feel, is she fluent? Is she stiff? And like Shane, are the hairs on the back, piloerection occurring, beginning to occur? You don't want to wait till it's fully erected because then it's like you got to go to the emergency pressure release point. But you'll see the tiny hairs, kind of like the goosebumps, everything starts rising in the negative direction, of course. Does that sound
Yeah,
plausible?
that sounds like I can do that. The other thing that happened when we were at the beach, we were walking by, and she passed dogs, and I stood between her and the dogs, and we just passed them, and she'd whine a little, but whatever. And then we were walking. She was on a kind of a tight leash because there were people around, not a lot, but all of a sudden a jogger went by that I didn't see, and she just jumped up at them.
Oh,
Like,
sure. Sure.
had she not been leashed, I don't know if she would have bit them or not.
Probably.
So, I mean, how do I ever get her past that,
Excellent point. You're taking tiny steps up the novelty ladder. Novelty meaning people, place, and things, different distances, according to the bubble work, different distances, different speeds, different durations, right? So when you have Breezy on the leash, when you're taking her for a walk, this pertains to anybody. You're dealing with a reactive dog. You know you're dealing with a reactive dog. Sometimes she's cuddly, charismatic. Sometimes she's Cujo, right? You don't know at this moment when you can predict what she's going to do 90% of the time, then you can let down your guard, so to speak. But it's your jobs as pup parents walking reactive dogs to scan the environment. There's always going to be something happening. Something just sped up behind us, and we got startled even. You can bet your sweet Bippy that dog's going to get startled. The minute the dog gets startled, what you would instantly do is remember the key word, the anchor word that we've been using since day one. Easy. No. Easy. No. Right? Just as I was expressing to Julie. Easy. No. When you get this into the neuromuscular conditioning, repetition of the dog, then later on you can rest assured that she's going to have it ingrained in her neuromuscular system, her nervous system, and her habituation and her connection to you is going to make it happen. For instance, I've told you this, I'm going to repeat it because this is what you're looking for. When my dog was 20, 30 feet away, he caught up to the squirrel, got it in his mouth. I said, leave it. He dropped it. I said, come. He came. Both of you, even with your reactive dogs, are capable of achieving that. It starts with what you're doing in this moment in the controlled environment, like Julie in your backyard, like Linda, you're semi-controlled when you're walking in the streets, but you need to walk into the streets because you need to increase the difficulty. We can't stay in the backyard for years, although
Right.
you need to stay in the backyard right now with you, Sherry, Shane, and Carrie, because that's where we start. Once we start in the backyard in a safe zone, controlled environment, we get 80 to 90% success, then we increase. Linda, you've come to the point where you and Breezy can walk in the neighborhood, and sometimes you're going to have startle moments. In that moment, nope, easy. Get in front of her, distract and remove. Distract and remove is a management tool. It's not what we want to do for the rest of our lives. It's a management tool to set a habit. So she startles, but then listens to you, focuses on you, follows you, and you're easy. If she's still wormy, no, easy, right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you have identical situations, just at different parts of the bubble. Linda, your distraction is a little higher, but that's not to say, Julie, your distraction is not maximal, because that's what Shane's capable of. We're being where our dogs need us to be.
Mhm.
Does that sound doable, Linda?
Yeah, yeah. It's hard because you can't
Oh, yeah.
have people come by, but the more I take her out and we have situations, I can see I could see where there's subtle signs, and I need to be more trusting to
Yeah.
get
And
her to that point. Yeah.
as you're going to see in today's lecture, is exactly this. Our first step in flow is struggle. Right now we have struggle because we have to work so dadgum hard. That's struggle. But we're creating consistency. We're creating neuromuscular conditioning through repetition, i.e. conditioning, and we're coming into the release of the struggle, and just going with what we know, letting go to what we know. Right now, we can't do that completely. Linda, you can do this much more so than you can right now, Julie. But you can both do it based on the current level that you're at.
So I have another question that I just thought of. So starting today, right after this lesson, where Shane stayed, and they have two dogs, Raina, who he's wicked buddies with, and another dog who he loves as well, but she's 13 and can't run around or anything, and she's deaf and all this other stuff. They're both coming at 11:30 and staying with me for 4 days, which of course Shane is going to love. But now that I'm thinking about the walks and how I was going to work with Carrie, I was planning on when I go out with Carrie that Raina would come, and she would definitely make it easier, because Shane wouldn't be as upset. But should I still walk with Shane how we discussed on the leash and doing the walk like that? And should I do it the whole walk or just part of the walk and then let him romp with Raina? How should I do it?
That's a different thing. So at this moment, you have an intrinsic drive motivator, i.e. the other two dogs.
Mhm.
Forget everything I said for now. When the
Okay.
dogs are gone, go to what I just said for you.
Okay.
But for now, by all means, this is your blessed gift. These two dogs as Shane's internal motivator. Shane can raise his mood state from fear, reactivity, to playfulness, which is your best gift you can possibly give to a reactive dog in training. Now you're going to do pack training. You're going to have expectations within the pack, because Shane's not going to be as fearful. He's not going to be as reactive, because you have raised his mood state just by having these dogs present. We'll start, everybody's on the leash.
Everybody's on the leash. Okay.
Everybody they have to earn their right to play.
Okay.
Will it help if the other dog, if her husband takes the other dog, like,
that was step two.
Like, he'd see like that this person's okay.
Yes, that was step two. Everybody starts on leash. You have Shane. Carrie has the other two dogs.
Okay.
And you have enough of a separation to not make it so much of a distraction that they're completely out of control because they just can't get their wits about them, knowing that they want to play. Like when you and your girlfriend are walking the pit with the dogs, you always start on leash. You can't just, right? So that's what you're doing. You're starting. Carrie has the two dogs. You have a little bit of a separation so you can gain control without breaking the dog's spirit. Keep the dog's spirit high. Keep the dog's mood state high. Do whatever it takes to have that happen while the dogs are on leash, while you're walking. While you're walking, if they get a little out of control, create a little more of a distance.
Okay.
Make sure, even though we want their mood state to stay higher than fearful reactivity, we don't control so much that they're just now back down to nothing's fun, right?
Okay, yeah.
So set them up for success. 5 minutes of walking around the yard on leash. When
Okay.
everybody's controlled, let all dogs loose. You and Carrie continue walking around the yard. They might choose to follow you, they might not. In a circle, the same circle that you've been walking in
Okay.
5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm so happy to hear that these dogs are coming to your house. Intrinsic motivation. What's the highest sense of motivation? The best gift we could ever have for our dog training session? Intrinsic motivation. Autotelic motivation, meaning they can motivate themselves because their drive is to be in the pack and to play.
Mhm.
That's where the juice is. That's where success happens. And that's why it's especially one of the reasons why it's very helpful here for me to have my dogs doing pack training with dogs like yours,
Mhm.
because I have my dogs out there and their mood raises exponentially just because my dogs are out there.
Right.
Now I can raise my expectations and they can start getting into the habit of these raised expectations, and everything is kosher.
Okay.
Cool.
Yes.
And that is part of what we're going to be talking about today, the intrinsic motivation.
I found the sessions that you filmed really helpful, Lori.
Excellent.
Like even the one on where you had the white dog like doing the agility things, confidence. Yes. I found it very helpful just to see your mannerisms with them so that I can mimic that more in my training. I found that extremely helpful.
Very good. What I would encourage you both to do, I've just uploaded quite a few demonstrational videos on my Facebook page. So I have a new Facebook page because my old Facebook page, I don't know, it crashed or something. I don't know what happened, but I have to make a new one. So go to my website, and right at the top, I have a Facebook icon. Please click on that because there's at least 4 videos.
Oh, awesome.
Videos that
I just love watching you, Lori. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I do too, for sure. It's a huge help. It's a huge help.